Happy Tuesday. It is officially our favorite time of the day, Run It Back time. I'm Sydney Clark. After a championship weekend in the sports world, we are excited to discuss everything that happened last week. Houston Astros won the World Series, LAFC won the MLS Cup, Joey Logano won the NASCAR Championship, and your 2022 men's basketball champions are back in action with college hoops season starting. And what an exciting weekend it was in college football because your Kansas Jayhawks are bowl eligible for the first time since 2008. The field goal post took a long-awaited swim in Potter Lake after Kansas defeated Oklahoma State. But that wasn't the only exciting game in college football this week, especially with the LSU pulling the win in overtime to defeat Alabama. Let's go to Carter for more.
Thanks, Sydney. What's up, guys? I'm Carter McKinnon, and welcome back to College Football Talk. From field storms to blowout wins, we saw it all, so let's get right into the action. First, we'll kick things off in Athens, where number 3 Georgia took on number 1 Tennessee. The Bulldogs started hot as quarterback Stetson Bennett danced around the Tennessee defense and made his way into the end zone to give Georgia an early 7-3 lead. Tennessee never found an answer as their unbeaten season was ended. The Dogs win in Athens, 27-13. Now let's take things over to Baton Rouge, where number 10 LSU hosted number 6 Alabama. We will start in the fourth quarter where LSU took a lead late after a leaping touchdown grab by Mason Taylor. But Alabama was able to drive the distance to the field and tie the game up with a Will Reichard 46-yard field goal to push the game into overtime. After both teams scored on their opening possession, LSU elected to go for 2 to try to win the game, and they did just that, as Jalen Daniels threw a strike to the end zone to end all playoff hopes for Alabama. Tigers 32, Tide 31. Now let's move over to the South Bend for one of the biggest matchups of the week. Number 4 ranked Clemson hosted Notre Dame. The Irish got off to a hot start early, leading 14-0 heading into the fourth quarter. Although Clemson was able to get some points in the fourth, they were unable to come all the way back. Irish 35, Tigers 14. Now let's talk about the matchups we have this upcoming week. Number 10 Alabama heads to Oxford to take on number 11 Ole Miss. Unbeaten TCU heads to Austin to take on the red-hot Longhorns. And Michael Penix and crew look to take down Oregon Eugene. That's all for college football this week. Back to you, Sydney.
Thanks, Carter. And my favorite game of the week, and I could probably speak for the whole crew in saying this, that watching the Jayhawks become bowl eligible after such a long-awaited time was the highlight of the weekend. After 2 years at KU, Lance Leipold has done something to a program that no one has been able to do since the Mark Mangino era. Jackson, I know you are excited about this as much as I am, so let's run it back.
Welcome back to yet another KU football update, and this time, let's grab the shoes and hit the alleys because Kansas football is going bowling for the first time since 2008. Kansas took on Oklahoma State this past weekend, and this one was all about the running game. The quarterback, yes, the quarterback, Jason Bean ran for 93 yards, including this 73-yard score, only on 4 carries. Bean was also good through the air, completing 18 of 23 passes for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns. But he wasn't the best Jayhawk rusher. Not by a long shot, because Devin Neal ran for 224 yards and this touchdown, proving that he is indeed the real deal. The Cowboy defense proved to have no answer for the Lawrence native as he not only got it done on the ground, oh yeah, he also caught 6 passes for an additional 110 yards. But the Kansas defense is not to be slept on, however, as the unit forced 4 turnovers, including this interception of Oklahoma State quarterback Garrett Rangel. The defense only surrendered 17 points to the Pokes, their second lowest total all year. Kansas will look to get another win next time out as they hit the road next Saturday to take on Texas Tech in Lubbock. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. Tune in to ESPN Plus to watch the game. After the break, Sydney will set up the most exciting 3 minutes of your week. Stay with us.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
Now it really is the best time of the day as Jackson goes for another 4th and Bez in 3 minutes of chaos fashion. There were some big upsets and thrilling games to watch this weekend, so Bez, let's run it back.
Thank you, Sid. I'm back bringing y'all another 3 minutes of chaos. Let's go. So the Eagles continued their run of dominance, taking care of the Texans on Thursday night, and A.J. Brown picks up his 6th touchdown grab of the year. Philly cruises out of Houston 29-17. Vegas, how do you guys keep blowing these leads? It was 17-0. Jags fight and come all the way back, taking out the Raiders 27-20. Man, the Vikings, they just kind of find a way, don't they? Dalvin Cook with a nice one-handed grab in the end zone here. Vikings get a field goal late. They stay at number 2 in the NFC, defeating Washington 20-17. The Jets are so back. Sauce Gardner is a straight-up dog. He had Josh Allen throwing hissy fits in the fourth quarter. New York's got grit. Jets take down the Bills 20-17. I'm going to say it. The Pack are dead. Rodgers has never looked less like himself. An interception on the goal line to a rookie? I mean, Aiden had just a nice play, but come on. This is not Aaron. This is an ugly way for number 12's career to end if that is the case. But the Lions do hang on 15-9. Joe Mixon, 5 touchdowns. What? This one right here would be his 5th. Just absolutely way too much for the Panthers to handle. Bengals double them up, 42-21. This game was actually a pretty awesome game. And Fields, hey, he might be the guy, Chicago. But Tua is definitely the guy, and this block punt touchdown helps Miami squeak past the Frisky Bears 35-32. Hey, look, it's Dicker the Kicker. What an awesome name. He wins the game for the Chargers in Atlanta, and man, Herbert just looks so comfortable in the pocket. Even without his top 3 receivers right now, LA wins it 22-17. This game was kind of pretty boring. I don't really have much to say about it. Ramondre Stevenson, nice grab here. Pats defense, really good. They reign supreme over Indy 26-3. This isn't Cinderella. There isn't a glass slipper. This is Geno and the Hawks, and they are the real deal. DK gets 2 feet in here, and Seattle tops Arizona 31-21. Tom Brady did it again. In what feels like his 200th game-winning drive, he finds Kate Otten for 6 with just seconds remaining, and the Bucs take down the struggling Rams 16-13. If you watch this game and don't think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, then you should probably watch it again. Patty took over like MJ in '96, and the Chiefs beat the Titans in OT 20-17. No Mark Andrews for the Ravens, but Isaiah Likely says do not worry. The rookie hauled in his 2nd score of the season. The Ravens lay heavy into that run game, and they knock off the Saints on Monday night 27-13. And that'll do it for me. A lot of 20-17 scores. Don't know what's up with that, but that did seem to happen. We're going to head it over to Richie to see how the NHL season has got underway.
Wow, what a crazy week of NFL that was. But something that I find even crazier is that the New Jersey Devils had the 3rd most points in the NHL 12 games in. Yup, you heard that right. But even more has been going on besides that, so let's run it back on the first month of the NHL. Yesterday marked exactly 1 month since the 2022-23 NHL season got started, and already we're seeing some great storylines. For starters, the Vegas Golden Knights, led by Jack Eichel, are looking like real Cup contenders and maybe even the favorite for the Cup. They're tied at the top of the whole NHL with the Boston Bruins with 22 points through 13 games. Well, that brings me to my next point. The Boston Bruins have been looking like nothing short of real Cup contenders this year, and even doing so all without arguably the best player, Brad Marchand, who was sidelined for the first 8 games of this season. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are some wacky things going on already in the first month of the season. The New Jersey Devils have started the season absolutely flaming hot. They are 9-3 in their first 12 games and sit with 18 points. This is mostly thanks to Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier, Jack Hughes, who all have double-digit points in the first month of this season. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep this up in a very tough Eastern Conference. The next unexpected thing is that the Seattle Kraken have the 3rd most points in the Western Conference in just the franchise's 2nd year ever in the league. No one man is leading this hot start, but instead every single skater and goalie is contributing and sharing the love around Seattle. Also, one thing to keep your eye on is that the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche, are currently sitting in the bottom 15 of the league to start the season. Now, it is only just 1 month into this season, but it's always fun to see where the award races are sitting at all times. I'll make this brief. It looks like at this pace, Edmonton Oilers' Connor McDavid will win his 3rd Harbor Memorial Trophy. Avalanche's Cale Makar will win the James Norris Trophy in back-to-back years. Ilya Sorokin will win his 1st Vezina Trophy. And Kraken's Matty Beniers will win the Calder Memorial Trophy. Running it back on the past month in the NHL has been fun, but something that some would say is even more fun is talking to Cindy Clark. So let's send it to her after this short break.
Hey there, new car owner. You might be ready to hit the road, Speed Racer, but there's a few things you should know before getting behind the wheel. Don't worry, Jimmy. Let's start with D for direction. Every driver needs to know his directions when hitting the road. Without them, you may end up in some godforsaken country you never knew existed. O is for observations. When you finally get behind the wheel, you best know who and what are around you. So it's probably a good idea to finally clean that windshield, Jimmy. Lastly, we come to G, gratitude. It's a privilege to own a car in these trying times. So letting your neighbor in on the highway is just one example of how not to be a total ass when you jump on the turnpike. All right, Jimmy, you now know what it takes to be a competent driver. Good luck, you lovable scamp.
After 6 games, the Houston Astros defeated the Philadelphia Phillies to win the 2022 World Series. This was an exciting series, but the Astros were on fire and were unstoppable in the last 3 games of the series. One of Chad's favorite time of the year has come to an end, but I know he's excited to recap the World Series.
That's right, Sid. After 175 games, their grueling gauntlet is complete, and the Houston Astros sit alone at the throne. The Astros win on Saturday, cemented their second, depending on who you ask, World Series championship in franchise history. Dusty Baker finally got his ring and is now the oldest manager in the history of baseball to win it all. Heading into Saturday, all the Astros needed was one win at home to close out the series, and their chances looked bleak until the middle innings. The 6th inning started with a leadoff homer from Kyle Schwarber, which gave the Phillies a jolt of life and the lead. In the bottom of the frame, however, the wheels started to fall off the Philadelphia wagon. Nothing in the sport of baseball is worse than a leadoff free 90, and that's exactly what happened here. Zach Wheeler's fastball found the elbow guard of Martin Maldonado, and 2 batters later, a Jeremy Pena single put runners on the corners with 1 out. Phillies manager Rob Thompson decided enough was enough and opted to pull his ace from the game. Zach Wheeler had only 70 pitches, but Thompson decided it was best to insert lefty Jose Alvarado for matchup against the best left-handed hitter in the world, Yordan Alvarez. Now, Thompson executed the same exact move in Game 1, and Alvarado got Alvarez to pop up in what would be a 6-5 Phillies victory. What happened this time was the furthest thing from a pop-up. Alvarado went sinker, cutter, sinker to make it a 2-1 count, and then back to the sinker again and paid for it dearly. Yordan Alvarez sent that offering 450 feet dead center with 112 miles an hour exit velocity. Philadelphia, we have a problem. The Astros bullpen took it from there and capped off their historic postseason effort. In 54.5 innings pitched, the Astros bullpen surrendered 5 earned runs. That's good for a .84 ERA. Absolutely ridiculous stuff. It wasn't the only record the Astros bullpen set this postseason. Their .75 whip is good for best ever, and they set records for each stat in the triple slash. Maybe your least favorite Little League coach was right. Defensive pitching do win championships. Speaking of championships, KU won one of those this year too, right? I'm not quite sure, but maybe we have a friend who's going to know about that. So let's see what's up with KU Hoops.
It's the time of the year we've all been waiting for as Jayhawks. It's basketball season, baby. With the return to the Fieldhouse for the season opener and some shocking Bill Self news, we already have a lot to cover. Starting with Coach Self, we've seen some good and some bad news for him this past week. Let's start with a quick feel-good moment. Last season, Coach Self led the team with his late father's motto, "Don't worry about the mules, just load the wagon." Self's ideology became legendary as these words brought the Hawks to a national championship. Students made a game day banner displaying his words and exemplifying their support and trust in him and KU basketball last week. A permanent banner was revealed at Allen Fieldhouse showcasing Bill Self's seniors' now iconic words. This solidifies the Self impact on the team's culture and history of Kansas basketball. Now to a little tough news for the Jayhawks. Due to a self-imposed Coach Self ban, Bill won't be in the building until after the 4th game of the year. Both Self and Townsend, each facing allegations of Level 1 NCAA rule violations, could carry up to a 1-year suspension per the NCAA penalty matrix. Regardless, he is confident in his team, and so is Coach Norm Roberts. Defense wins, compete hard, play the right way. These are all words Roberts used in a press conference regarding his strategy while standing in. Roberts says the coaching staff can handle this kind of transition. Last night was the first regular season game of the season. To kick off the 125th year of Kansas basketball, the boys came to play with a 25-point win over Omaha. Grady Dick showed off, making 4 of his 6 attempted three-pointers. Jalen Wilson dominated with 21 total rebounds, and Bobby Pettiford with 13 points from the bench. The entire Kansas bench got on the court, meaning we also saw big plays from Clements and Jankovic. Kansas may boast a young new team, but from the student section, rumors of going back-to-back were whispered. The only question I see for the remainder of Self's suspension is who these games' record will go on, Bill or Norm's. And what is Coach Self doing during the game? Watching on the TV like the rest of us? We'll see Coach Self's first appearance back on the day before Thanksgiving in the battle for Atlantis. But don't forget to catch the Jayhawks' next game this Thursday against North Dakota State.
Do you feel like you are constantly coughing? Or always reaching for the tissues? Or maybe you have a headache that just won't go away no matter what you try. Did one of your favorite hobbies become an empty pastime? Are you constantly exhausted and wanting to sleep all day?
The MLS season has finally come to a close, and what an eventful one it was. This MLS Cup Finals game is being talked about as the best finals game in MLS history, and rightfully so. This game went through regulation, extra time, and penalty kicks, so let's run it back. The scoring started in the 27th minute with a free kick from Kellen Acosta and the help of a deflection off of the Union wall to end up in the back of the net. The next goal didn't come until after halftime when Daniel Gazdag scored yet another in the postseason for the Union to tie it up in the 59th minute. Things got crazy in the final minutes of regulation as both teams scrambled to avoid extra time. LAFC's Jesus Murillo capitalized on a perfectly placed corner kick and sent a header in to make it 2-1 in the 83rd minute. Just 2 minutes later, the Union had a free kick of their own and also scored off of a header in the 85th minute. Even with 7 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the game, neither team could pull out a game-winning goal, and so, with a final regulation score of 2-2, the teams jogged off the field to regroup before extra time. Now here's where things really got crazy. Just 6 minutes into extra time, LAFC star Carlos Vela was subbed out for Gareth Bale, who would later have a huge impact on the game. The next game changer came in the 110th minute of extra time, a collision between LAFC and Canadian national team's keeper Maxime Crepeau and Philadelphia Union's Corey Burke. Crepeau received a red card for the foul and had to be carted off of the field as a result of a broken leg. He underwent a successful surgery on his leg over the weekend, but will miss representing the Canadian national team in the World Cup and the beginning of the 2023 MLS season due to the injury. Because of the red card, LAFC was forced to play with 10 men in the final minutes of extra time and had to make a keeper sub to replace Crepeau. Now here's where the plot really thickens. It was none other than former Philadelphia Union player John McCarthy. And he had only played in one game in the entire 2022 season, which was a 2-0 loss to the Colorado Rapids back in May. So now that we've really set the stage, let's get back to that recap. Philadelphia takes a corner kick, which leads to a 20-second scramble in the box, and eventually a Union goal is scored again by Jack Elliott, this time in the 124th minute. But remember when I said that Gareth Bale sub was going to be a game changer? Yeah, here's why. With just 1 minute left in extra time, Gareth Bale comes in clutch with a world-class header finish to tie it up once again and send the teams to penalty kicks. Cristian Teo steps up to the spot first for LAFC, but his hesitation doesn't fool Philly's Andre Blake, who makes a huge save to start off PKs. For Philadelphia, Daniel Gazdag takes the first kick and his plant foot slips, which sends the ball sailing over the net. So, after our first round of penalties, they're tied 0-0. Next up, Denis Bouanga scores the first penalty kick for LAFC with a perfectly placed kick to the top left. Jose Martinez tries out the stutter step, but subbed-in keeper John McCarthy makes the first of his penalty kick saves and begins his campaign for LAFC legend. After the second round of penalties, LAFC had the lead 1-0. Ryan Hollingshead was up next for LAFC and sent one down the middle, tricking Andre Blake and giving LA a little more confidence. The first lefty of penalties, Kai Wagner, whipped in a shot to the bottom right, but McCarthy was right there to block it for LAFC. So now we're 3 rounds in, LAFC is up 2-0, and they can win it all with this if midfielder Ilie Sanchez can find the back of the net with his PK. And he does just that. LAFC wins the 2022 MLS Cup in one of the craziest soccer games in the history of the league, and it's all thanks to goalkeeper John McCarthy, who rightfully earns match MVP during the trophy ceremony. Now I know that was a lot of soccer, but we've got a few weeks of downtime before the World Cup starts up, so I'll be back soon to fill you in on that. But for now, Jackson's got our plays of the week to run back, so let's send it over to him.
Hello, it's me again. And this week, I'm going to do some top plays as well. We've got 5 top plays, just like we always do. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. Starting off at number 5, we've got Jason Bean. A little bit of a homer pick here, but look at Bean here as he goes 73 yards for the score, bounces it outside, shakes off the tacklers, and heads up the sideline. This en route to a dominating KU win, 37-16. Coming up now at number 4, we've got Jaylen Brown. Look at the play here. Over you, Nicola. Oh, just no chance. Jaylen put him in a body bag. And Celtics would go on to win this one. Celtics look pretty good to start off the year here. Now coming in at number 3, we've got Vikings, we've got Commanders, we've got Heineke. Love me some Heineke. We've also got Curtis Samuel. Oh my gosh, he actually gets in the end zone there. Nobody touched him. How did he get through all 4 of those guys and not get touched? I'm not sure. Commanders, they didn't go on to win this one, however. But, oh, okay, Curtis. Okay, Curtis. Coming up now at number 2, Kevin Durant. You know that emoji that's like that green one that looks like it's going to throw up? Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of this play. KD, oh, Daniel Gafford, time to retire. That is so filthy. and the Nets probably went on to win that one. Coming in now at number 1, Kings Magic. This game was crazy. Chuma Okeke gets a steal, ties it up here. Kings got to go. They got no timeouts. Give it to Fox. He's got to push it. Pulls up from the logo. Bang! De'Aaron Fox stuck it. And now that's it for the top plays. Hope you guys enjoyed. Those are the 5 favorite I had this week. Sydney, what do we got more?
Jackson, I have to say this is the hardest week by far to choose my feel-good moment. With so many special moments in sports, but still I have to stay in Lawrence, Kansas for this one with a special video of KU quarterback Jason Bean having an emotional moment after leading his team to become bowl eligible. This man was faced with so much adversity this season after QB Jalen Daniels went out on the TCU game, and Jason Bean came right in and has stepped in the QB slot for the past 4 games. He's had 3 consecutive losses, but was able to get KU their first loss of the season after coming off of a break. But, well, let's run it back on this. This is the Run It Back of the Week, and I have for you, and thanks for running it back with us once again. Make sure you tune into Playmakers at noon this Friday and every Friday to keep you updated until we see you again next Tuesday to recap some of the best moments in sports. And check out On the Clock today at 3 p.m. to see some familiar faces talking about the locks of the week. We will see you all next time. Have a great week.